winning back-to-back-to-back Super Bowls. The NFL Super Bowls have been around since the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken, Andy. I think 1950 was the first Super Bowl. It might have been the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. The 66th season. So it's been a long time.
That's a long time, bro.
And we've never seen a three-peat. Shady, let me ask you this. If indeed the Chiefs three-peat, would they be the greatest NFL dynasty?
Yes, without a doubt. Not even a real question for real. You know, as I'm thinking about this, like, they're the only team to go to 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. If they win a three-peat, they'll be the only team to ever do a three-peat. Yeah. And there's been some crazy good dynasties, right? I'm looking at the Steelers, the Niners, the Cowboys, and obviously the latest is the Patriots. Yeah. And knowing all that, they never did the three-peat. But then Patty came along with Andy Reid, and they have a potential to do a three-peat. That would be the best dynasty of all time. Yeah, I'm going to say it like that. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, their main player, he ain't going nowhere. True. Right? See, now I learned the D coordinator is such a big part of this also. It used to just be all offense with Andy Reid, right, and the Chiefs. Now Spags is coming part of this whole dynasty thing. Yeah. So now it's like, yo, even if Travis Kelce retires, hopefully he doesn't, but if he ever retires, he's making a lot of money off the field. He's dating a billionaire. They might get married soon, be like a billionaire marriage. Now you got to find a way to replace him. Yeah. And Andy Reid does the best thing. He always develops players and drafts players. So true. So he don't have to worry about the money getting too high, or I got to pay this guy too much. Cool, because I let him go like he did last year with Snead, right? When all-pro corner. Yeah. They still in the Super Bowl again.
Replaced them.
So the best thing about the Chiefs is they draft well, they develop, they have all their big pieces for the dynasty are still there. Defensive coordinator, Andy Reid, and Patty won 5.
Look, I think there's certainly an argument to be made. And quite honestly, if they do win, and like Shady said, and like I'm sure all of us will say, a three-peat's never been done. We've talked about that ad nauseum. But this would be 4 Super Bowl victories in 6 years. And so when you look at it, and I want to show this graphic because it's the first 7 years of Patrick Mahomes' starting career. And like Shady says, the dude is not even, he's like barely 30 yet. Okay, look at this. In his first year as a starter, went to the AFC Championship, lost. All right, Super Bowl, AFC Championship, Super Bowl. You've been to 5 Super Bowls in 7 years as a starter? Yep. Like, Patrick Mahomes is the dynasty. Yeah. Like, that's what it is. And I get it, like Andy Reid, but Andy Reid wasn't winning stuff like this before. And I agree, and we talked about it, like, I think I skew toward Andy Reid as being the guy, the main person. All right. But if you look at Pat's career and what he's done, and then you try to compare him, like you were saying, like the different teams and the different dynasties of the past. Well, let's go through them, right? You look at the Cowboys, they won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years in the 90s with Aikman, who's a Hall of Famer. That's pretty good. Right. But then really didn't do anything in the other years. Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years in the 70s. Bradshaw, the game has changed since then. 49ers, 5 Super Bowls, 14 years. No. 6 Super Bowls in 18 years for the Patriots. You're talking about 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. It would be tied with the Steelers for most amount of Super Bowls in a 6-year window. Which is, you know, you look back at the Steelers in those Terry Bradshaw days, they were rolling. Yeah. But I think what and how the Chiefs have done it this time, it could make them the greatest dynasty we've ever seen.
No, I agree with Chase and Shady. I don't want to say easy because, I mean, it was a long time ago where these dynasties were happening, and we don't kind of remember if it was some injuries, all that type of stuff. A lot of stuff could have played a part. But I'm saying the Kansas City Chiefs, this is the greatest dynasty ever because we've seen it in every way. We've seen it with really, really talented players and a really, really talented offense.
Good point.
We've seen it with not a lot of talented players and a good defense. We've seen it with you playing good. We've seen it with you playing bad. And all we keep seeing is you going back to AFC championships and the Super Bowl. This game been around for a long time.
Long time,
Whenever you start getting into a situation when you're saying something has never been done, that's special. In this game, it's a lot of great players that play this game. A lot of stuff has been accomplished. 6 touchdown passes in a quarter, whatever it may be. 5 rushing touchdowns in one drive, whatever it may be, has been accomplished. But this has never been accomplished, man. Out of all the great players and all the great coaches in this game, there has never been a three-peat. And this game is changing, and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is about to have an opportunity to three-peat. And you're talking about greatest dynasty. All these dynasties are great, and they never accomplished this because it's super hard to do. and Patty and Andy Reid have a chance to accomplish that. We are witnessing and watching the greatest dynasty ever. And I think we blind to the fact because they're making it look so easy and doing it in so many different ways.
Here's what I think. I think we can all objectively agree that, well, I'll say this exclusively. To me, it's the greatest dynasty ever if they three-peat because it's the most difficult dynasty ever. I think there are more talented players playing now than there ever have been. Yep. There are more games being played right now than there ever have been. Thus, there's more to go wrong, injuries included. And there is also more difficulty now because there are more teams now than there ever have been. Again, when the NFL started in 1966, we didn't have all these teams, we didn't have all these games, and we didn't have all this talent. Think about the last great undrafted player. Early 2000s, there were some great undrafted players now. If I'm not mistaken, Arian Foster, undrafted player. Yeah. Victor Cruz has some great seasons in there, undrafted player. Kurt Warner, undrafted player. Y'all can think of more undrafted players than I can. You used to be able to fall through the cracks in the NFL because there weren't as many talent scouts. There weren't as many resources, amongst other things. Think about Tony Romo, an undrafted player. You ain't finding no undrafted players falling through the cracks right now, not in the same capacity as you used to. So the talent level is better. There are more teams, and there are more games, more to go wrong. But then also, you think about the comparisons. Cowboys, 3 Super Bowls, 4 years. Well, if the Chiefs win 3 in 3 years, that's greater. You got the Steelers, 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. If the Chiefs go to 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, that's equivalent. But the 3 in a row, that's greater. You got the Niners, 4 Super Bowls in 8 years. Well, 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, that's greater. Then when I think about the Patriots, you can't have a 10-year gap and let that many teams win on your watch and me call that one big dynasty. I like the dynasty the Patriots had when they won the 3 and 4. I like the dynasty the Patriots had from 2011 to 2018, really 14 to 18. Yeah. I don't count the 20 years with the 10-year gap when years. 10 Super Bowls won on your 10 quarterbacks won on your watch. I don't consider that one big dynasty. That's why to me what the Chiefs are doing because of the talent, because of the games, because of the teams, to me it's the separating factor.
And you know what's crazy? And I thought James you brought up a really good point to dive deeper. It's like every year they've done it differently. Like when the first year Mahomes was MVP, 50 touchdowns, right? They didn't win it that year. Brady beat them. But then the last 2 years specifically, you look at, like, everyone wants to talk about Patrick Mahomes, and rightfully so. Is he in the GOAT conversation after he wins three-peat? It's really been Spags the last 2 years that have been sort of like the secret recipe for success for the Chiefs, because that defense has taken a lot of pressure off of what Patrick has to go out there and do on the field. And so when you look at it like that, I don't think there's any stretch of imagination that people wouldn't agree, especially if they three-peat. The crazy thing about it is, though, guys, and this is, I want to talk to you, like, 8 years as a starter for Patrick Mahomes. He's only in year 8. We saw Brady play 22 years. How many Super Bowls is Pat going to be with if Andy keeps coaching? Because we all agree that Pat is the guy, right?
So like it's minimum 10.
You know what I'm saying? But like that's a real thing. Is like then you have the greatest dynasty of all time. When do you start talking about Patrick Mahomes as the greatest of all time? Now I know he's got to catch Brady with 7, right? And been to 10. But it just seems like the sky's the limit. No one seems to be able to beat him.
It is. What I love is that we're living in this era of Patrick Mahomes. You know, I didn't get to see the Walter Paytons of the world run. I didn't get to necessarily see some of the other greats at other positions. I don't remember watching prime Jerry Rice. I remember Raiders Jerry Rice. He still got busy. But I don't remember prime Jerry Rice. We all get to watch prime Patrick Mahomes. Don't take it for granted. Well,
okay, so I got to take into consideration what that looked like last year.
Yeah.
I got to take into consideration what the team looked like. Okay, so moving forward, I'm going to say this. Well, first of all, you're going to be the third best team in the division. That's the first thing.
Off the rip?
Eagles, Commanders.
Right? That, you slide into now being the third best quarterback in the division.
Hey, no, after 1 year?
1 year?
Bro, y'all see
he was second in MVP voting 2 years ago.
That's an all-pro dude, though.
When you watch Dak and you watch him, does it look the same?
I'm not doubting
all right.
Jaden.
And the kid's a rookie. Yeah. Okay? So we get better. Another thing I'll say, the coaching. You got the last coaching division, correct?
Yeah, Dave all above. Yep.
So to be lucky and be fair and be optimistic, right? I'm going to say a divisional game, a divisional round of playoffs. Oh, is that okay? That's the first.
That's high.
Is it?
Yeah, because
they got to win a wild card.
Okay, so they got to win a wild card game. I apologize. I'm talking about a wild card game.
Okay, yeah, like that. Okay, I'm with you.
I'm with you on that. Sorry, please, sorry. yes, sorry about that.
It is interesting, right? When you think about the NFL, it's all about quarterback coaching combinations. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 Super Bowls at this desk, and I got all but none of them. Shady won a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Shady won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. and Bruce Arians. Chase won a Super Bowl with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. James won a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. Coaches and quarterbacks win Super Bowls. If you look at the list of the Super Bowl winners over the last 10 years, you might find one tricky name in there. I believe it's Nick Foles and Doug Peterson, the outlier that proves the rule. The rule being you need a Hall of Fame caliber head coach and an elite level talented quarterback. Again, Joe Flacco, he might be in there. No, it's 2012. So we're just looking at the last 10 years. So I suggest, unless y'all believe that Shoddy is about to be a Hall of Fame head coach, and we have a 9-year sample size of Dak Prescott, which leads me to believe he's likely not going to be a Hall of Fame caliber talent, the ceiling isn't Super Bowl. That's what I know for certain. That's what I can promise you. The ceiling is not Super Bowl. We have the empirical data that lies before us. I think the ceiling is probably a playoff appearance.
Yes.
I can't even suggest it's a win. Dak Prescott has 2 playoff wins in 9 years with coaches that are greater than the coach he currently has in Shoddy. At least Mike McCarthy has won a Super Bowl. The ceiling is a playoff appearance. Whatever happens after that, it happens after that. But just keep in mind, the Rams are going nowhere. The Eagles are going nowhere. The Commanders are only going up. The Packers are going absolutely nowhere. Whole NFC North, to James's point, it is going nowhere. If you think about the North, most of those teams have found their quarterback, and their quarterback is stable.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Dak, you got to find a way to outduel quarterbacks that have already outdueled you. I don't see that happening often. What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.